She had tried everything: vision boards, moon rituals, affirmations 3 times a day. She wrote her intentions in gold ink, practiced gratitude journals every morning, and even memorized scripting methods from half a dozen manifestation coaches, and still nothing. The relationship didn't change. The money didn't come. Her energy felt stuck, worse than stuck. It felt hollow. Until one afternoon, something happened. She was walking through the park with no plan, no intention, no mantra playing in her head, just a kind of peaceful numbness, and in that silence she looked up, and it was as if the entire field around her shifted. Suddenly, the thought came not from her mind but through her. You've been trying to manifest from the frequency of not having. It hit her like a wave. Every affirmation had carried a secret undertone of urgency. Every vision board had whispered, "You're not there yet." Every intention was born from the place of separation, not from embodiment. That was the day she stopped trying and things started showing up. What changed? This story isn't just about one person. It's about a quantum principle that most people, even those deep in spiritual practice, completely overlook. The field doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your energetic clarity, and most of us are radiating chaos, not clarity. We've been taught that manifestation is complicated, that it takes work, layers of effort, mental rehearsals, daily tracking. But what if all that noise was the exact reason your reality hasn't shifted? What if the real power lies in simplicity? There's a reason sages, mystics, and even quantum physicists point toward the same truth. The observer collapses reality not by controlling it, but by becoming still enough to align with it. But stillness is not what most people practice. Most people practice obsession. They want it so badly that their field becomes distorted. Their minds are filled with strategies, their hearts filled with doubt, and their frequency becomes foggy. And the quantum field, which mirrors back your most consistent signal, reflects that fog right back at you. This is the paradox. The harder you try to manifest something, the further it seems to slip away, not because the universe is punishing you, but because your very effort is a declaration. I don't have it yet, and in the quantum realm, that becomes your reality. The woman in the story didn't manifest because she gave up. She manifested because in giving up the noise, she finally tuned into the signal. She stopped vibrating effort. She started vibrating space, and the universe can't resist a coherent field. So in this video, we're not going to pile on more techniques. We're going to dismantle the complexity. We're going to show you why the simplest manifestation shift is the most powerful, and why almost nobody is doing it, because simplicity requires trust, and trust is the true spiritual initiation. In the next part, we'll explore the physics behind why simplicity works. We'll break down how the quantum field actually responds to clean signals, and how your attempts to do it right might be the very thing clouding the connection. If you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things but nothing is shifting, stick around. The truth is simpler than you think, but it's not what you've been told. Why does simplicity work in the quantum field? And why do most people unconsciously resist it? Because most people don't actually want alignment. They want control, and control is the opposite of alignment. Let's go deeper. In quantum mechanics, reality doesn't pre-exist in a fixed form. It exists as probabilities. possibilities until something collapses. The wave function, that something is. Consciousness, the observer, you. But here's what's often missed, it's not the intention alone that collapses the wave, it's the state of coherence behind it. Imagine trying to tune a radio to a specific frequency, you turn the dial. But instead of locking onto one signal, your hand keeps shifting between stations, static, half music, interference. That's what most people are doing. Vibrationally, asking the universe for clarity while broadcasting confusion. Wanting love while vibrating unworthiness. Wanting money while fearing lack. Wanting peace while overthinking outcomes, so the field responds with more static because the quantum field doesn't speak English or affirmations or vision boards, it speaks vibration, and that vibration must be stable enough to register. This is why manifestation becomes so much simpler and more powerful when we remove the layers of trying, forcing, controlling, because in that stillness the signal sharpens, the emotion stabilizes, the intention becomes clean. There's a concept in quantum physics known as quantum decoherence. It refers to the loss of coherence in a quantum system when it becomes entangled with too many external variables and loses its unique unified state. Now, let's apply that spiritually. You are a quantum system, your energy, your field, your emotional state, but when you entangle yourself with doubt, comparison, overanalysis, external validation, you decohere. You lose the energetic clarity that collapses reality in your favor. That's why the ones who manifest easily often look effortless. They're not careless, they're clear. They've stopped trying to manipulate the outcome and instead they've become the embodiment of the outcome. They live in a state that says it's done not just in words but in vibration. This is where simplicity becomes your superpower. When you remove the mental clutter and emotional chaos, you give the field a clear template to reflect. You become a clean receiver, a strong transmitter. And manifestation stops being a mystery. It becomes a mirror, but here's where it gets even more interesting. When you simplify your inner world, your outer world accelerates because there's less resistance in the field, less drag, fewer competing signals. This isn't a theory, it's physics. David Bohm, a pioneer in quantum theory, described the universe not as separate parts but as a unified, implicate order, a field of infinite information folded within itself. Your thoughts, feelings, and frequencies unfold into this field and reflect back your reality. So the question becomes, what are you unfolding into the field? Complication or coherence, noise or neutrality, effort or energetic clarity? Most people have been trained to believe that success, healing, love all require work, hard work, proof, struggle, sacrifice. This programming is so deep that when someone tells you it can be simple, your mind resists it. Why? Because simplicity threatens the ego's identity. If manifestation is simple, then maybe I've been overcomplicating things because deep down I don't feel worthy of ease, or because I still believe that value comes through struggle. This is where spirituality and quantum science meet. Simplicity is not a shortcut, it's a return to your natural frequency, and when you return to that state, uncluttered, unattached, unbothered, the universe doesn't need to be convinced. It just aligns. In the next part, we're going to reveal the most common energetic pattern that keeps people looping in complexity and how to break it, you'll see why wanting is often the very thing that blocks the having, because the field doesn't give you what you crave, it gives you what you are, and the more simply you embody that truth, the faster everything aligns. Stay with me, the shift happens not when you force it, but when you allow it. Let's talk about the trap most people fall into, the one that quietly sabotages their manifestations even when they think they're doing everything right. It's the energy of wanting. Wanting seems innocent, it sounds like desire, it feels like passion, but in the quantum field there is a profound difference between desire and wanting. Desire arises from expansion, wanting arises from lack. Desire says this would be beautiful to experience, wanting says, I need this or I'm not okay, and the quantum field always reflects your dominant frequency, not your words, not your scripts, not your hopes, your frequency. When you operate from a state of wanting, even with the best of intentions, your energy broadcasts a consistent message. It's not here, I don't have it, I'm still waiting, and the field responds with congruence. Correct, it's not here, let's take a closer look. In quantum terms, your consciousness interacts with the field through what physicists call superposition, all possible states existing simultaneously. Every version of your life, wealthy, healed, in love, empowered, already exists as a possibility in the quantum realm, but you don't pull them toward you. You don't chase them, you tune into them. You collapse their probability into your physical experience through vibrational alignment, and that alignment isn't achieved by force. It's achieved by identity. When you're in a state of wanting, you're identifying as someone who lacks, but when you shift into being the version of you who already knows, who already feels, who already is, you collapse that timeline effortlessly. This is why spiritual teachers and quantum mystics alike emphasize one simple but often misunderstood concept. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. But here's the twist that most teachings skip. You can't fake this shift. You can't mentally say, I already have it, while emotionally vibrating need, urgency, frustration. The field isn't fooled by your words, it reads your coherence. That's why simplicity isn't just easier. It's more powerful, because when you release the emotional charge of wanting, you become available to receive. Think about the people you've seen manifest things effortlessly. They weren't trying, they weren't obsessing, they weren't tracking the signs every hour. They were being, living, trusting. They had let go of the energetic tension of wanting, and in doing so their field became magnetic. This is not passivity. This is alignment. Wanting is a contracted frequency. It pulls your field inward. It says to the universe, I am incomplete. Being is an expanded frequency. It radiates wholeness. It says, I already carry it within me. That's the frequency the field mirrors back. So, how do you make this shift? Not by more doing, by a subtle yet profound reorientation of identity. You stop trying to become the person who has the thing, and you begin acting as the person who would never question it. You stop asking, how do I get there? And start feeling, I already live there. You don't visualize to make it happen. You visualize to stabilize your resonance. You don't affirm because you doubt. You affirm because it's already done. This shift in frequency is internal, quiet, often unnoticed by others but felt deeply in your field, and the moment you shift from wanting to being, the field begins to rearrange itself around your new signal because you're no longer asking, you're no longer waiting, you're no longer vibrating separation. You've become the frequency of what you once thought was out there, and in that moment the separation collapses. In the next part we'll bring this shift into the physical realm with a daily practice so simple yet so vibrationally coherent that you'll begin to feel the field bending around your new identity. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped needing it, and that's when everything starts to come to you. So how do you actually shift from wanting to being, from noise to coherence, from hopping to having? It's not through more action, it's through vibrational reprogramming, and it begins in the first few moments of your day. The way you start your morning sets the frequency of your entire field, and most people wake up straight into separation, checking notifications, remembering problems, replaying stories of limitation. So let's break that loop. Here's a ritual you can use, not as a trick, not as a hack, but as a way to stabilize your energy into the frequency of having. It's called the already frequency protocol, and it takes only a few minutes each morning, yet the field begins to feel the shift almost immediately. Step 1. Wake into stillness. Before reaching for your phone, before replaying yesterday, place one hand over your heart, close your eyes, breathe in for 5 counts, hold for 5, exhale for 7, repeat this 3 times. This slows down your brain waves, moves you into alpha-theta state, and activates the heart's electromagnetic field, the most powerful signal your body emits. Science from HeartMath Institute confirms coherence in the heart creates coherence in the field. Step 2. Say it as if it's now, out loud or internally. Speak the reality you are choosing, but not from a place of hopping, from a place of knowing. Example: today I walk in alignment with abundance. I am the frequency of love. I don't wait, I magnetize. Keep it simple, no long lists, no desperation, just 1 or 2 clear frequencies spoken from presence. Why this matters: when you speak from the vibration of having, your body begins to entrain with that version of you, and remember, the field reflects back who you are being consistently. Step 3. Feel it fully for 90 seconds. Close your eyes and let your nervous system catch up to the frequency you're invoking. See it, feel it, but more than anything, breathe it into your cells. Not with effort, with surrender, with certainty. Here's the key: you're not doing this to make it happen, you're doing this to remember it already is, because once your body believes it, your field begins transmitting it. And once your field stabilizes, the field of reality reorganizes. This is how simple it truly is. The quantum field does not need 20 steps. It does not need proof of effort. It needs clarity repeated with consistency. But here's the beautiful part: when you simplify your inner broadcast, the outer world gets clearer too. Synchronicities speed up, resistance dissolves, people shift, timelines bend. You're no longer walking through life trying to make things happen. You're walking as someone who already knows, and that knowing is magnetic. Now, before we move on, I want to invite you to anchor this frequency with a micro action in the comments. Write, I let it in. Let that be your declaration to the field. Not that you're trying harder, but that you're opening wider, because when you truly allow, the field responds, not with maybe, but with momentum. In the next part, we're going to explore why this simplicity is so often rejected and how your subconscious patterns may be addicted to the complexity that keeps you looping in the same emotional weather. Will also reveal how to stay in the frequency without constantly checking for results, the final key to letting manifestation feel natural. Because that's the real secret. It was never supposed to be hard, you just got used to the noise. Here's something rarely talked about in manifestation circles, something uncomfortable yet freeing. Once understood, most people are not afraid that their desires won't manifest, they're afraid that they will, and that their identity won't know how to handle it. This is what keeps you looping in complexity, in spiritual busyness, in subconscious resistance to simplicity, because simplicity requires one thing your ego cannot fake: surrender. And surrender feels like death to the part of you that has built its identity on striving, fixing, proving, and chasing. So when someone tells you it's already done, your mind says, but if I stop trying, won't I lose everything? This is the paradox. You crave ease, but you've been trained to feel safe in effort. You want flow, but you've been rewarded your whole life for struggle. So your nervous system associates peace with risk, and complexity becomes your safety net. Let's go deeper. In the field of neuroscience, we now know that the brain builds predictive models to keep you safe. If you've spent years believing that results come from stress, then anything outside that pattern feels unsafe, even if it's healthier, easier, or more aligned. In quantum manifestation, this becomes a feedback loop. You think you're manifesting something new, but your field is still vibrating the emotional signature of effort. So the reality you receive matches not your desires, but your unhealed patterns. This is why simplicity, true energetic simplicity, is not easy, because to return to simplicity, you must be willing to release the identity that feels powerful in complexity, the overthinker, the spiritual doer, the one who needs to get it right. But here's the liberation. Once you release the identity that's addicted to trying, you become available to receive timelines you could never force, because the version of you that already has what you want isn't stressing about how to get there. She's already there. She doesn't check the signs every hour. She doesn't pray from panic. She doesn't perform for the algorithm of the universe. She wakes up and radiates coherence. This is who you are becoming and who you always were beneath the noise. But how do you stay in that frequency without falling back into old patterns of control? By learning the art of emotional neutralization. This doesn't mean being numb. It means being available to feel without being ruled by feeling. When a doubt comes up, you witness it without attaching. When an urge to check or fix arises, you pause and breathe instead. You begin to live from what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the memory of your future, anchoring emotionally into a state that already knows it's done. That emotional state is your signature, not your thoughts, not your words, your state. Because the field doesn't respond to what you're doing, it responds to what you're being while doing. And being is not a performance, it's the return to your original frequency. Before you learn to force life, to chase love, to earn worth, now that you're clearing that static, your field is opening, and as it opens, reality begins to shift organically. That's what's next. In the final part of this video, we're going to reveal how to maintain this new state, not with effort but with presence. You'll learn the final key, why. Detachment isn't about not caring, but about caring so deeply that you trust the field to deliver better than your mind can imagine, because in the quantum world, your biggest breakthroughs don't come from trying harder, they come from letting go of the timeline that says it has to be hard, and once you do, what was stuck begins to move, what was far becomes near, and what you used to chase and starts to chase you. So here we are. You've unlearned the noise, you've remembered the simplicity, you felt the shift, not because you forced it, but because you allowed it. Now the question is, how do you stay here? How do you remain in this clean signal, this vibrational clarity, this effortless alignment when the world around you pulls you back into loops of effort, urgency, and overthinking? The answer isn't to fight the pull, it's to return again and again to the frequency of your higher knowing, that part of you that already understands. Manifestation is not magic, it's resonance, and resonance doesn't happen through effort, it happens through consistency, consistency in presence, consistency in emotion, consistency in identity. You're not here to manipulate outcomes, you're here to become the embodiment of the outcome already lived. In quantum terms, you are choosing your timeline not with your actions but with your vibrational signature, your emotional default state, your energetic posture, the unseen signal you radiate. Even when you're silent, that's the truth most people miss. They keep chasing tools, new scripts, new techniques, hopping to unlock the next breakthrough, but all the tools in the world are useless if your identity is still anchored in lack. So here's the practice. Let it be simple, let it be clear, let it be done, because when you stop questioning if it's coming, when you stop asking when it will show up, when you no longer vibrate as someone who needs, that's when the field collapses into form, because the field doesn't follow your timeline, it follows your frequency, and your frequency stabilizes the moment you stop needing proof. So when you walk through your day, let your energy speak louder than your words, let your presence transmit coherence, let your posture carry the vibration of someone who no longer doubts, because the field can't resist congruence. When you are aligned in thought, emotion, and embodiment, you become a magnet for everything you once chased. And here's the most paradoxical truth of all: the moment you no longer need it is the moment you collapse the version of reality where it already exists, because needing is a frequency and having is a state. You don't need to convince the universe, you just need to convince your nervous system. Let it feel what it's like to have nothing missing, let it anchor into the emotion of already, let it soften into the simplicity of being. That's the shift. That's the magic. That's the science of manifestation. At the quantum level, you collapse reality not by pushing but by becoming the version of you who never had to push in the first place. And now that you've remembered this truth, the field has already changed. It's listening, it's arranging, it's reflecting. So if something inside you resonated, if you felt even a flicker of relief, of clarity, of knowing, let that be your new frequency baseline. And if you want to keep expanding this field with us, if you want more than content, if you want resonance, community, and activation, subscribe not just to watch more, but to become more, because this space is not about followers, it's about frequency. And if you're still here, you're not here by accident. You're remembering what your soul never Forgot it was never supposed to be. Hard, it's just supposed to be aligned. And alignment is simpler than you.